What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Ryan Stevens here, aka Coach Thanos. I'm here with my good buddy again, the North American hairless polar bear, Rob Heffley. Man, he had a really good question earlier. What was that question?
What's the difference between a blood choke and an air choke?
See, and that might sound like how would you not know that? There's a lot. Go on the internet right now and Google chokes. There's no definition of the choke. And actually, there's two versions of a choke, two variants of a choke. So it's a really good question you asked. That's why I like doing this black belt, white belt, is because sometimes we overlook the minimal details that we assume people know, right? So let's talk about this. So blood choke is robbing the brain of oxygenated blood from the heart to the brain via the carotid arteries. There's two ropes that run on the inside of your neck, close to your esophagus, and when we cut those off, your brain says, oh no, and we pass out. That's a blood choke. And then the other choke or variant is an air choke. And an air choke is just nothing more than cutting off the air to your body. So you ask yourself, like, which one's more efficient? You know, and when you look, it's gonna be a blood choke. Because a blood choke, according to research and depending on where you look, it's 6 to 12 seconds to render someone unconscious with a blood choke. Versus an air choke, how long can you hold your breath?
Probably 45 seconds.
Yeah, so 45 seconds, some people a minute, depending on the person, how long they can hold their breath. So you think about when I'm on and I'm riding this bull of violence and I want to end it as quickly as possible, if I put an air choke on somebody, which is nothing more than closing off the esophagus, it might be 1 to 2 minutes before you go flat. Versus a blood choke properly put in, squeeze, 6 to 12 seconds, they go unconscious. So depending on why 6 to 12, that's a question I get a lot, is like, Ryan, why is there such a big variance from 6 to 12 seconds? What I found spending time on the mat and choking my friends is that when someone is very relaxed and they train Jiu Jitsu a lot, and I wrap on a good solid blood choke and I squeeze and their heart rate is low, it takes longer for them to pass out. Versus when their heart is pounding and the blood is pumping through the veins, it makes sense? And then I clamp them down and the body says, oh no, and then they, danger, danger, and they pass out. So that's the difference in the variants. So more efficient, blood choke. More efficient out of the two. So when you see collar choke, triangle choke, you know, there's different variants of chokes and it's either a blood or an air. So it's a really good question.
Can you show me?
Yeah, I'll show. I'd love to show you. Let's see something. So let's talk about the basic one. Let's talk just a basic lever choke. It's a variant of a rear naked choke. So I'm behind my opponent and I want to render him unconscious, or I want to get a tap because we're playing Jiu Jitsu. So I'm going to take my thumb and I'm going to try to wrap it across his jawline, coming underneath the jawline, trying to beat the jaw, because a lot of people will tuck their chin. That's what you want to do. If a white belt's training and someone's behind you, immediately tucking your chin and fighting the hands. So I want to try to get under that chin with my thumb. And once I get under that chin, I'm going to continue to wrap until my elbow is equal with the sternum. You know, my coach has said, you know, a lot of people will do a choke here. After all the time on the mat, my coach says that I need to be ear to ear. It's causing a lasso. I'm connecting with my body here. Now what I want to do is make sure the choking hand is palm down, my opposite hand is palm up, and I'm going to use what's called a gable grip. So a gable grip. A gable grip is not a thumb grip, almost like I'm clapping here, you know? A gable grip is two knife hands placed on top of each other, and that's called a gable grip, named after a famous wrestler, Dan Gable, one of the most famous. So it's a very powerful grip. So I'm going to do a gable grip. Now, I'm going to use my rear hand to push into his back while I squeeze my forearm and bicep together and bringing my elbow to my body, pushing them into each other. Just like that. And that's called a lever choke. So one more time, cross the chin. Why do I want my elbow center of a sternum? Why do I want that? I want that because it's going to give me equal pressure on both of those carotid arteries. Palm down, palm up, lever on the back, ear to ear, start the squeeze. And so what happens is, let's talk about something. When you felt the pressure, what'd you do?
Panicked.
Yeah, besides panic, did you tap?
Yeah, tap, yeah.
Okay, so that's one of the rules in Jiu Jitsu is we tap, and when you tap, what did I do?
Let go.
Immediately let go, okay? And that's, so tapping can be done on me, it could be done on himself, it could be done on the mat, or one of my favorites is a verbal tap, which is, that's also a tap. And I hear any of those, I'm gonna immediately let go. Because here's what needs to be taught, and sometimes we're not teaching this as coaches, is the legal liability behind a blood choke. So we know, based on what we said earlier, 6 to 12 seconds, we can render someone unconscious. Ryan, what if we hold it longer than 12 seconds? You're on the hook for legal liability. I find myself in the street, I'm trying to engage with somebody, they go unconscious, I continue to hold it. Think about this like a liability clock. The longer I hold it, the more liability I assume. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So there's a famous video of two Brazilians in the backyard. I don't know what they're fighting over. Maybe a hot dog, who knows? But they were fighting over something serious. And the guy puts him in a rear naked choke, and he starts to squeeze, and he squeezes, and the guy goes limp. And you see him, he just goes unconscious. On the time lapse on the video, he held it 2 minutes after the guy went unconscious. Ended up killing him. Because remember, the blood choke is taking the oxygenated blood from the heart to the brain via the carotid arteries. We're cutting that off. We're robbing the brain. The longer we hold it, the more damage that happens. The guy ended up dying. The other guy got charged manslaughter, murder, and he's in jail. So we need to know this when we're training. The concepts of chokes is how long to hold it, when to let it go. So someone taps, immediately let it go. And that's the concepts of the blood and air choke. You want to see another choke?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here's the thing. If you don't subscribe right here, I'm gonna choke him out. I'm gonna choke him unconscious right here. Here we go. Hey, this is a good one right here. This is called the murder choke. And with a name called the murder choke, you know it's gonna be good, right? You don't name anything murder choke and it sucks, right? Are you ready for this?
I guess so.
You're not ready for this. You're not ready for this. Here we go. So we're in the mount. What's really funny, my students will go train with other places. I got guys that travel across the United States. I train a lot of law enforcement. And they'll come back and guys will call me and say, hey man, one of your students was at my gym and did this stupid murder choke, man. He said, knock it off. So this is a really good one. Not a common one you see because it's not normal grips. It's actually a pinky forward grip, but I like playing with it because it sucks. Okay, so what happens here, I'm in the mounted position. It can be done from the guard. I've also done it from the standing, like on a wall. If they have something on, like a gi, it could be done with a hoodie. Could be done with a collared shirt. I've never choked a guy out in a suit, but it would be very cool if we could, okay? So what we're gonna do is take 4 fingers, thumb's gonna be pointed at me, pinky outbound, and I'm gonna do a 4-finger grip. Here's the detail here, if we can get it kind of close. My pinky is gonna be right by the carotid artery. Most common mistake is to go too deep. I want my pinky right by the carotid artery. See, the carotid arteries run right on the side of the neck next to the esophagus. So my pinky's gonna be right there. And when the time is right, my other hand's gonna go across and my pinky's gonna be next to his carotid artery. Now what I want is, I want a vertical, almost like 2 equal parts. I wanna rotate them in and act like I'm grabbing on a bar. So instead of grabbing on 2 bars, I wanna reverse bend it to 1 bar. And my index knuckle is gonna land right next to his esophagus. So it's gonna look like this. Boom. Boom. I love the face. Why it sucks, there's 2 reasons why it sucks. My knuckles pop right into what's called the mandibular angle, a hypoglossal nerve that runs on the jaw. So that pain sucks. And then when the index knuckle goes in, it completely shuts off and it clamps the esophagus. So it's more of a blood choke than an air choke, but dude, it hurts so bad, and watching their face brings me joy for some reason. So here we go. Pinky down, boom, pinky, right next to the carotid, other side. Very simple choke. This is not technical. And now I go reverse bending the bar where my index finger pushes in. Immediately let go on the tap. Here we go. So good question. What was the difference between the choke? Ended up using 2 chokes for you. Did you learn something?
Oh yeah.
Hey, that's one of the coolest things about this series that we're doing. It's called the White Belt, Black Belt series, is sometimes as coaches, we go through the details, and I feel like the Jiu Jitsu community is awesome right now. Everything's exploding. There's new techniques, there's new variants, but sometimes we lose the basics. And what we found as a white belt with my buddy Rob, the small questions get left unanswered. And that's why we're gonna do the series. So continue to subscribe, share the videos, tune in and watch us. We're gonna continue to release content because we're just regular dudes trying to share.
I think also comment on some stuff you would like to see or learn about, because there's a ton of stuff I know.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wanna ask you, and I love this time I get you alone. It's okay
Yeah.
to ask you questions. So, you know, any of the content you want to know or see, put in the comment section.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
100%. Yeah. So check this out too. I want you to know, just on the background, I love Jiu Jitsu. My heart's in Jiu Jitsu, and Jiu Jitsu is my therapy. But we also do stand up, we also do firearms, and we also do striking. I'm a firm believer in the 5 phases of violence, which is projectile, and that could be pistol, rifle, long gun. I could even throw something, weapon of opportunity. We have striking, clinch, throws, takedowns, and submissions. So we have a lot of content to bring you guys. I'm excited to share. Coach Thanos out.